Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Another post-game show here for the Jets' 5-0 victory tonight over the Minnesota Wild. My name's Ty Dilello, and I'm the host here at Game Over Winnipeg. Welcome to the post-game show. A pretty eventful game for the Jets. They were able to take care of a tired Minnesota team that hasn't really been playing their best hockey as of late, and win in convincing fashion, a 5-0 win. Connor Hellebuck for the Jets was the first star of the game. He had a 19-save shutout. He improves to 21-5-1 on the year and looks well on his way to winning another his third Vezina trophy. It was definitely one of those nights for him. Although it wasn't one of those big shutouts where you stop 30, 40 shots. It was a very relaxed night for him. But when he was called upon, he did make the saves. Nikolai Ehlers got the Jets on the board in the first period with his first goal, I think, in 11 games, and this is only his second game back from injury. He had a nice power play goal 6 minutes into the game. And then the fourth line got a goal from Morgan Barron with 2 minutes left in the first period, who we talked about, I think, on the last Jets show, how we needed the fourth line to get going, or we wanted to see some changes. So Morgan Barron maybe silences the haters a little bit with his third goal of the year and his first non-empty net goal of the season. That put the Jets up 2-0. And then in the second period, the Jets, I guess, kind of continued the momentum that they were on. Neil Pionk scored a power play goal, his fifth of the season, assisted by Cole Perfetti and Nino Niederreiter. That put the team up by 3. Minnesota didn't really show much, signs of life in the third period. And just in general, it was a very quiet night from, their star players, Kirill Kaprizov, obviously Matt Boldy. They were all held pointless on the night. In that third period, Cole Perfetti scored to make it 4-0, and then Vladislav Nemesnikov scored with 10 minutes left in the game to make it 5-0, and that was the end of the scoring. Cole Perfetti, who we've ragged on a bit here on the show, also, like Morgan Barron, silencing the haters. He went 1+2, a goal and 2 assists for 3 points. Neil Pionk had a pair of points. So overall a great game for the Jets. Definitely, I think maybe a fire was lit under them after the game a couple nights ago against Anaheim. I don't think you can kind of play like that. Certainly not against good teams in the league. So for once, the Jets got a jump to start the game and didn't let go of that, which was really good to see. Before we get into that more, do a quick ad read for Hyperdrive Hockey. So you can check out the flagship show of the Game Over Network on the Game Over Network channel. That's Hyperdrive Hockey, which is all things hockey across various leagues in multiple countries. Whatever it is and wherever it is, Max, Daphne, and Kev have you covered for all of your hockey news with a steady dose of fun and fan engagement. You can find Hyperdrive Hockey on the Game Over Network YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts on the Hyperdrive Hockey page, or at thegameovernetwork.com. So there we have it. Pelle Lindberg in the chat, reading it here. Pelle says, was this a big statement win or what? Go Jets go. And then he says, is Lowry going to be okay? What will happen with that? Yes, Pelle, it was definitely a good statement win against Minnesota, who we've kind of had their number this season. I believe we've beat them all 3 times. I know we won in overtime in the second game of the year, and then We beat them both 3 weeks ago, and then I think we're done with the season series with Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a team that plays a little bit similar to the Jets, but I just feel like the Jets are a little bit more maybe ahead of them in terms of where their players are at. The Jets are a little more playoff experience and stuff. I think I'd be kind of happy if the Jets actually got to play Minnesota in the playoffs again, because we kind of had their number. I think it's a good matchup for the Jets. Obviously tonight I guess showed that. And at the same time, Minnesota's coming off a back-to-back. They were nowhere near their best tonight. I think clearly, and the Jets took advantage of that. So you're definitely right, Pelly. And then Pelly says, "Is Lowry going to be okay? What will happen with that?" Yeah. So I didn't get to see that play, Pelly. We actually had a little bit of a medical emergency here, where I'm watching the game at my family's house, with my parents and siblings, and there was we had a little bit of a medical emergency during the game. Paramedics were called, so I missed that. I missed the Lowry getting injured, but all is okay here from my family's end. Everything's going to be okay, which is good. So I didn't see the Lowry injury in the third period, I guess. So I'd have to wait to see the post game comments from Coach Arneal, or just waiting for an update about that. But obviously that would be a big loss if Lowry was going to miss any extended period of time, as he's one of our most important Jets. He's our captain. He plays very, very, very big minutes in our lineup. So, just fingers crossed that he's going to be, okay for, the Toronto game on Monday, and if not, just, after the Christmas break. I wish I could tell you more about that, Pelly. We'll go into the second period now here. And I'll do another quick ad read for LaRouche. The Game Over Network is an independent production focused on community, inclusion, and quality people. If you're interested in supporting the Game Over Network, we have crowdfunding options available in the description of this episode. You'll find a link to our Patreon page, and we're also working on a page through LaRouche, which is a kind of a crowdfunding platform originating for companies in Quebec, which is why I never heard of it until now. But for LaRouche, we're aiming to raise $15,000, and if we hit that goal, we'll gain access to government grants that will allow us to employ more people, provide more content to you, etc., etc. So if you have any ideas for what you'd like to see as giveaways from these crowdfunding efforts, please let us know in the comments on Twitter, Instagram, our ever-growing Discord server, or Blue Sky, which is kind of like the new app, the new Twitter. I'm on there. I think a lot of our Game Over hosts have kind of migrated over there, so you can find me kind of still call it tweeting during the Jets games and giving updates about the team. Check us out there. And Kay from Game Over Montreal, who we did a fun show, I guess I'll say it was a fun show last night, says, just stopping by for a sec to say hi and congrats on shutting out the Wild and their whack vibes. Kay, what do you mean by whack vibes? What's that supposed to mean? But thank you. Yeah, it was a good Jets win. It was good for the number one team in the league to beat the number two team in the league. It was a good game for sure. Whack vibes though. Why is Minnesota whack? What's up with that? I'm a little worried hearing about the Adam Lowry possible injury. That's gonna bug me until I check what's going on with that, because as we're seeing with the loss of Dylan Sandberg in the Jets lineup, it's been a very hard void to fill, and you're seeing kind of our defensive woes with just trying to play with missing a top four defenseman, having to put Hayden Fleury in Dylan Sandberg's spot, and seeing the ebbs and flows with that, the positives and the negatives. So I'm reading here on Twitter, or formerly known as Twitter, X, whatever. It says Lowry went down the tunnel with about 11 minutes left. He came off the ice gingerly after his last shift. He was walking gingerly, I guess. However, it's 40 minutes after the game now, and still haven't got an update from the press about that. So maybe they're a little bit late in talking to the media. I don't expect there to be much of an update on Lowry yet. They usually evaluate after the game, or like the next day. We usually don't just say, oh, it's lower body, we don't know yet, we'll do tests tomorrow. So I'm not expecting anything, I guess. Okay, thank God. So one of the Jets beat reporters says that Scott Arniel says that Adam Lowry should be fine, is what the quote is, after he left the game late in the third period. Thank God. Hallelujah. I don't think we could take another, key injury right now. MBHA, Manitoba, is that ball hockey? Yeah, says cheers. Cheers right back at you. Big 5-0 win here. For this period segment, I was actually going to talk about things. I was going to talk about potential lineups, potential combinations, call-ups if Lowry was hurt, what the Jets were going to do in his absence. So I guess I won't. I don't have to go into that now. So instead, I'll talk to you, MBHA. I appreciate you stopping by, watching our show, and chatting a bit. MBHA says, just came over from the Legal Curve show. Everyone is bashing Stanley. Tired of hearing it, the same thing over and over again. Enough is enough. I totally hear you. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't get to catch too much of the game, just because we had a little bit of a medical emergency at the house here. So I'm actually kind of curious how Ville Heinola and Colin Miller played together, MBHA, because I think this is one of the first games that Ville Heinola's got to play on his left side, on his his right side, whatever pairing, because Logan Stanley always plays on the left when they play together. So I'll say this, MBHA, I'm also not a big Logan Stanley fan, or just how it's kind of gone here in his time here, and how he's played this year, but I'm not going to give him crap tonight, especially in a game that he did not play. So I'm not going to go down that path. I think the block shot, the injury kind of came at a good time where he can miss this game and Saturday, or this game and Monday against Toronto, and then kind of go from there. And I'm sure he'll get back in the lineup in the games before the new year. But I think it was kind of imperative. I think that the Jets could, at least the coaching staff could see Ville on the left side playing with Colin Miller. I think that's a pairing that I think the Jets wanted to kind of utilize early in the season during training camp until Ville got injured. MBHA says they were excellent tonight, referring to Heinola and Miller. So that's great. That's a really good sign to see. I assume it's going to be the same. It'll be the same pairing for the Toronto game. The Toronto game is going to be even more of a test for them, I think. We know how good Toronto is, offensively. We know how good Minnesota is offensively. Kirill Kaprizov, probably the best player in hockey this season. He had Zuccarello back on his wing. So it was definitely promising to see Ville and Colin Miller out there shutting down that team, and we're going to see that again on Monday afternoon, early game against Toronto. I guess maybe fingers crossed that Austin Matthews is still injured and not playing, but it's going to be a test for them and the rest of the Jets. The Jets never beat Toronto really ever. I think that we've beaten them maybe once out of the last 10 or 11 games, if I'm not mistaken. So it would be very, very good to finally get a win, over the Toronto Maple Leafs, and especially, to go off, into the Christmas couple days off with a smile and a good mood. Beating, a pair of, the top teams in the league, Minnesota and Toronto. True North Ducky says Villy was good tonight. Jets pretty much dominated this game, and so I'll be interested to see Villy again. Again, that's great to hear, True North Ducky. I'm really glad to hear Villy had a good game. I think he hasn't gotten a point yet this season in about the 10 games or so he's played, so I'm sure that's kind of coming around the corner. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear Villy played well. I don't want to make this a Villy or Logan Stanley thing. I just feel like Villy has not had the games that Logan Stanley has got in this organization, and is not. I just feel we don't know what we have in Villy yet, because he's been injured, and then he's never gotten to play with the Jets, and then when he has, he's been stapled with Logan Stanley, this year, and then also Villy's playing on his offside, which is a hindrance. I don't care if he said that he's happy to play it. Like, you would prefer to play on the side that you're more dominant on. So I'm really glad to hear. True North say that Villy was good tonight, and then hopefully, True North Ducky says we need to dust the Leafs for once. Amen. Yeah, I want nothing more than the Jets to, come into Toronto on a Monday early afternoon, and me to be in a good mood on the post-game show, and the Jets to be, happy with a big rout of Toronto. Nothing would make me smile more. And True North Ducky says Perfetti was the best Jet. Wow. I have not, loved Cole Perfetti's game for, much of this season. I've questioned a lot whether he can, be a top 6 player, a top 6 contributor, just because, I've said it so many times. He has the 2 biggest flaws that any top 6 forward in the league can have, and that he's slow, and that he's soft. But to hear that he had a good game tonight, he was our best Jet. He had a goal and 2 assists. It's a good sign. It's definitely a good sign. I thought he's looked actually a little bit better the last couple of games. I thought he had some good shifts in the San Jose game, and even in Anaheim, in Nikolai Ehlers' return. It's good to see. I like to see more of Cole Perfetti putting good games together, because I thought that maybe his top 6 role was kind of in danger, and because it definitely will once the Jets and eventually make a trade. I assume by the deadline. I assume they're gonna get a couple of defensemen and a potential top 6, top 9 forward still. So it's good to hear that Perfetti had a good game. If you guys are there, MBHA or True North Ducky, let me know how Nikolai Ehlers played, because I saw the goal. But how do you look out there tonight? I'll do another ad read as we go to the third period here. For Game On Winnipeg, we'll talk about, because Game Over, what you're watching right now, has you covered after the game. But in order to get ready to watch the Jets, you've got to get your Game On too. So Game On Winnipeg is a short form, daily news podcast covering everything you need to know about the Winnipeg Jets. Debuting very soon, I hope. It's Christmas time, we still don't have Game On Winnipeg. Come on. I believe all the other networks, all the other Canadian cities here with Game Over have it already. So, we're a little bit lacking, as you can tell, in Winnipeg, but I think we have a guy that's going to start doing those shows. So, debuting hopefully in January, you can get all your Winnipeg Jets news in under 10 minutes, Monday through Friday on the Game Over Winnipeg YouTube channel, and in podcast form, which you can find at thegameovernetwork.com /pages/Winnipeg. Like I said, I think we have it in the other Canadian markets, so check them out. Check out the other shows. They're good if you want kind of quick hit news hits, kind of what's going on with your team, what's kind of going on around the league. It's just maybe easier sometimes than checking Twitter for the updates. You can just watch a quick video and get it all there. Anywho. Yeah, so we're into the third period now of the show. I was asking the chats, I didn't hear anything back. I was wondering how Nikolai Ehlers played. If someone's there wants to give their opinion. I think that we're seeing, even in the Anaheim game, but especially tonight, um, it's definitely really, really nice for our depth when Nikolai Ehlers is back in the lineup. I think we saw how thin things can get, offensively when only our top line's going. I wouldn't call, Perfetti and Nemesnikov both aren't, crazy offensive players. The way they, I'll answer you MBHA in a second. I'm just saying for Nikolai Ehlers to be back, playing well tonight. It's just he's such a dynamic, dangerous player. He gives us that secondary, like that second, offensive surge 5-on-5. He's a driver. We don't have many, offensive play drivers on the Jets. It's really good to see Nick Ehlers back in the lineup. I really hope that we can keep him, in our organization after this year. I know that might be difficult, but it's good to see Nick's healthy, playing well. MBHA says, I wouldn't call Perfetti soft. I like the way he digs in the corners. He's been pretty relentless lately trying to retrieve pucks down low. Yeah, that's true. Like I said, he is a soft player compared to, a lot of the guys in the league. I think that'll come in years. He's got to put on some more weight, some more muscle mass, probably. Be more sturdy. But I did say that I did like his game a little bit more lately. You were definitely right. He has been a little bit more relentless. He's been a little bit more in the corners. He's been taking it a little bit more. He's not really dishing out much, but he's taking it and able to make a pass while taking a hit. That's a good step in the right direction. We need him. Like, he's a guy, like, if he's a top 10 draft pick, Cole Perfetti, and that has to be a player that we're putting in the lineup, come the playoffs, right? Last year Cole Perfetti played, the entire season with the Jets, but as soon as the playoffs hit, game one hit, he's a healthy scratch because, the playoffs are a totally different animal, a totally different style of play, than the regular season, and it's a very rough, physical, tight, less space on the ice type of game, and Cole Perfetti, that's not his game. Guys like Lowry, Niederreiter, players like that will thrive in the playoffs because they have that, not just the two-way sense, but they can take it, they can dish it, while also making plays and scoring goals. Cole Perfetti has struggled with that so far. I know that he's young, but so he's really going to have to keep taking steps forward in that regard if he's a player that we can trust, not only to play in the top 6 in the playoffs, to be in the lineup in the playoffs. I do think there's going to be a role for him regardless where he plays. I do think he'll be a top 12 forward for the Jets in the playoffs. But I just want to see more two-way stuff, more defensive, more checking, more, as you said, that relentless stuff that we talked about. And that goes for a lot of the Jets. I'm not going to call the Jets a soft team, but we don't have like those. We don't have a lot of, is Kyle Connors not he's considered soft. Mark Scheifele is kind of considered soft. I know he's had couple big hits in his day, but Nikolai Ehlers is soft. Like, these are our top 6 wingers, and like, you need guys with a little bit of grit in the playoffs. That's a big reason why the Jets haven't been able to, to win. As Rick Bowness said, their best players were so much better than our best players. It's not even funny. And it's not because they don't want it more. I can promise you that every single hockey player on the ice for both teams wants to win the game, just as much as the other one. But these other teams, like the players on Colorado last year, the Jets might be more talented offensively than some of them, but there's a lot of intangibles that come with playoff hockey. Val Nichushkin, he tore the Jets apart. He's a physical presence. He can score goals and he can dish. He can play two-way. Nathan McKinnon, obviously he's a better player than Mark Scheifele, but he's one of the most best players in the world when it comes to playing in the playoffs and playing that style of hockey. Rantanen has a little bit of grit. So the Jets, if they are going to go out and acquire somebody at the deadline offensively, I know defensively they're going to get someone, that can be top four, that can, throw the body. Of course, they're defensemen. But we cannot go down that path again of signing, trading for, Sean Monahan, soft, Tyler Toffoli, a dollar store Kyle Connor, doesn't hit it all, shoots the puck well, but is a little bit worse version of Kyle Connor. Like, the Jets need to go out and get, some grit with some scoring. And I know those are tough to come by because that's what the game of hockey has kind of become in the NHL these last few years. I just don't want to see, we can't take any more soft and skilled players because they're definitely needed. But we need guys to protect those players. As we saw when that whole David Gustafsson was forced to, get his face caved in by Trent Frederick when the Jets whopped Boston 8-0, and we didn't really have anyone aside from Lowry and I guess Stanley. Like, there's not many guys on the Jets that can, throw the mitts around. So, that's all I'll say about that. I'll do another quick ad read. I'll throw the merch up here. We're gonna go overtime after this. So if you have any questions before I sign off, please feel free to throw the questions in the chat. Yeah, you see the merch here. What better way to support something you love than by rocking it as clothing? Game Over's apparel line has dropped here with 3 unique designs. Whether you feel the nostalgic pull of our retro skater design, want to make a statement with our established design, which is currently on sale, want to wear your love for goalies proudly with our live and die by the goalie design, or if you just need another coffee to get you through the winter, we got you covered. So designed by Brady Chalice from Game Over Winnipeg. Use the QR code on the stream now, and please take a look through our apparel store and help us rebuild local sports media in Canada while repping your community. So yeah, please check it out. It makes good. I guess maybe a little bit late now to order it for the holidays, as a gift or whatever, but check it out regardless. We've got some unique designs. It's a way of, I guess, repping your NHL team, repping the Jets, repping Game Over if you're a fan of what we produce. And yeah, I'll get that off the screen. I'll leave it up. If there's any more chat, any more questions, feel free to fire away. I'll leave this up here for another minute or so, and then I'll shut down. I've already been running for a little over half an hour now. The Jets will be back in action with one more game before Christmas. Early game on the road, 1 o'clock Central on Monday against the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's going to be a good test. It's going to be a very good test because we never beat Toronto, as I said. So it'd be amazing. It'd be amazing if the Jets could get a victory against Toronto. It'd be great to go into the holidays on a winning note. The Jets will then have, I think, 3 or 4 days off. I believe we're back in action on Saturday, the 28th. That's a home game against Ottawa at 6 o'clock Central. So Ottawa's looked, very good as of late. That's going to be a tough game, no doubt. And then after that, on the 30th, we're at home for a game against the Predators. So yeah, that's kind of what's kind of coming up ahead. As I'm not seeing anything in the chat, I'm going to kind of sign off here. So I appreciate, people that were in the chat checking out the show. It's good to kind of riff with some people. It's not always fun just kind of talking to myself here. So once again, my name's Ty Dilello for Game Over Winnipeg. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you again on Monday afternoon at around 4 o'clock Central for the post-game show with the Jets and Toronto. So take care, everybody. Happy holidays, and go Jets. Big 5-0 win over Minnesota tonight. Peace.